In the fashion world, Louis Vuitton is an icon everyone wants to have in their wardrobe collection. But not many knew the boy's struggles who went through a series of hardships to invent this luxury brand. You'll be surprised when we tell you that before the establishment of the billion-dollar empire, Louis Vuitton didn't even have food or money in his teenage days. Buckle up to know the whole story of this homeless boy at the time of the 19th century, the beginning of Louis Vuitton. In the 19th century, France's iconic star of the future was born. At that time, the Neapolitan War had just ended, so France was still emerging from the after effects of the war. Many farmers even went bankrupt, and that includes Vuitton. Due to the dire financial condition, Louis Vuitton had to work hard from a young age. The poor boy planted and harvested crops on his family's farm every morning. Then he also looked after the animals and stockpiled a firework for the need. Louis' bad time worsened when at the age of 10, his mother died. After some time, his father married again and brought with him his stepmother for the struggling young boy. Unfortunately, Louis' stepmother was not too kind to him. It even wouldn't be wrong to compare her with a movie's villain's stepmother. She made Louis' life hell, so he decided to leave home. So when he turned 13, he silently left his farmhouse and went to Paris. Without a penny in his hand, Louis decided to find a job for himself. Luckily, he got a job with a skilled artisan, and they taught him how to make things from fabrics, wood, stone, and metal. Despite the efforts, Louis could only arrange food for himself. He could not find a place to sleep. Thus, Louis became homeless. Most of the time, young Louis slept in the woods, and he had only a thin cloak to cover him at night. During that time, the first railway line had opened to Paris. That automatically made traveling easy for the artisans. The business started to expand when they started making custom-made boxes for aristocrats. Additionally, the artisans used to travel with instruments, boxes, paintings, and furniture to go to distant places. Seeing this industry booming, Louis decided to give a try to the skills he had just learned. While Louis was finding work in trade, a craftsman named Monsieur Michel hired him as a trainee. In a short time, people started to like his work, as the clients of Michel kept on coming back. You'll be astonished to know that after a while, the Empress of France made him her box maker. He worked for the Empress for a year, and people became fond of his exceptional work during this period. After that, Louis opened his first shop, where he sold his new products. From the very start, Louis tried to come up with something that would make his name famous. He designed his products with the new technique that later changed the industry's standards. Initially, the traditional leather boxes were rectangular, and their lids were like domes so that water would not soak into the leather. The idea was good, but the problem was that loading the piles of boxes in less time was impossible. You must know that Louis was one of the ones who came up with this solution. He tried many other materials and finally found that canvas for box making. He did it because the canvas was durable, water resistant, and much lighter than leather. Then Louis Vuitton changed the dome-like lids to simple flat lids. In this way, the problem of box stacking was solved as they could be quickly loaded. Furthermore, with the addition of waterproofing compounds, the color of boxes became gray, which made them look modern and elegant. After these products, Louis created a slat trunk, and you'll be astonished to know that this was the first modern luggage at the time. Over the next 2 years, this slat trunk became the must-have accessory for the customers. Then this ambitious man introduced his new invention to the public: handbags. You'll be amazed to know that people did not like handbags in ancient times. They believed the bags were bulky and inelegant. Despite that, Louis started making handbags with canvas material. His hard work paid off as the demand for his handbags increased among the fashion enthusiast women. The women would often demand bags that could match their outfits. Eventually, his business became so vast that he could not handle it alone. So he asked his son George to lend a hand in the booming business. Like his father, George came up with great ideas that quickly changed the industry's standards. One of his ideas was to have a tumbler lock that could turn a luggage bag into a treasure chest. Not only was it enthralling to look at, but it also prevented the bag from theft. It seems that good fortune was coming Louis' way. However, a bump appeared in the business when the war broke out. Sadly, the destruction of the Franco-Prussian War caused severe damage to Louis' business, and he became homeless yet again. Not just that, he and his family had to leave their home and move to Annères, a city outside of Paris. It was heart-wrenching to witness the refugees not having a proper place to stay. The amount of food was so limited that Louis nearly died from starvation. Finally, the war ended, and Louis returned to Paris. His heart shattered when he saw that his workshop was destroyed and his materials were stolen. At this loss, Louis could only use his savings and started rebuilding his shop in another location. Soon, he got a place in an upscale district at a lower rate. Surprisingly, his business went certain heights within a few months. At this time, technology had advanced to the point that people started custom printing on their desired fabrics. Louis took advantage of this opportunity and created a line of trunks on canvas in striped patterns. People went crazy on this design, and it helped him to stand out as a modern people. The hype of his designs was great, as he got too many international orders from other countries. That's why he started expanding his business and opened a shop in London. Even royals and explorers especially came to his shop to buy his products. Your mouth might be hanging open when we tell you that Louis was the only designer of the time whose products were found in the homes of the elite and rainforest. To manage many orders, Louis decided to release his first catalog. It was a great tactic to bring his business to the heights of success. But alas, the man didn't live to see his business skyrocketing in the industry. At the age of 72, Louis Vuitton suddenly died in his home. Until now, nobody knows what happened to cause the death of this legendary man. Now it was George's turn to complete his father's dream. That's why he did not waste a moment and traveled to the United States, where the World Fair was hosted. From his travels, he got to know about sales networking. Not only that, at the World's Fair, he met John Wanamaker, who gave him the idea of opening a department store. He was the one who also invented the price tag. After that, he started selling Louis Vuitton products in his New York department store. And you must know that it was the first store in the United States that carried the name of this brand. Then, in the memory of his father, George also created a monogram in floral pattern with interlocking L and V initials. Time passed, and all the design Louis Vuittons produced became popular among the public. It seems that George and his son Gaston had inherited the talents of Louis Vuitton as they continued to make new designs. The remarkable creations were the Keep-All, a bag to carry champagne and wine, a daily use bag, the Alma, and the No. In this prosperous time, a tragedy happened, and George passed away. Now, all the responsibilities were on Gaston to complete his father's unfinished work. Unfortunately, Gaston did not have a good start as the Second World War broke out. All the contracts were canceled, and Louis Vuitton stores and factories were shut down. In these circumstances, Gaston became desperate to save the company, so he decided to join hands with the winning party. Then he opened up a shop in Vichy. And let us tell you, Louis Vuitton was the only shop allowed to stay open at the drastic times. After the war, Gaston instructed his children, Henry, Jacques, and Claude, to re-establish the company. Under Gaston's guidance, his children created new luggage designs every year. The sad history repeated itself, and Gaston died suddenly. Now the three sons were in a dilemma about how to run the company. So they offered their sister's husband, Henry Rocamier, to take over the company. Henry had excellent business knowledge, as he recently sold a steel trading company with significant profits. After taking over, he turned Louis Vuitton from a wholesale to a retail company and started selling in the Asian market. You'll be tongue-tied to know that the sales of Louis Vuitton went from $20 million to $260 million in the next 6 years. Later, when Henry made Louis Vuitton public, the company's stock started to fluctuate after over 1 million shares were sold out. At this point, the analysts warned Henry that the sales might fall drastically, but he decided to take the risk. Henry opened Louis Vuitton stores all over the world, and in just a few years, the sale of Louis Vuitton reached $1 billion. Soon after, the Louis Vuitton brand was merged with Moët Hennessy and became LVMH. Both companies had advantages in this merger, as their goal was the same, was to prevent an outside takeover. However, the peace between the companies was short-lived, as Henry started to have management disputes with the president of Moët Hennessy. We know that greed for power can make a man do unimaginable things. So to take control of the company, Henry joined hands with property developer Bernard Arnault. But soon Henry knew Bernard was not on his side from the start. A legal battle started between them, and Henry was the loser. During this battle, the Louis Vuitton brand fell back into the luxury brands line. After some time, Ves Carcelli took over the brand and started the business with bold ideas. He also invited many famous designers who created exceptional handbags. After 1 year, an incredible designer, Marc Jacob, was hired to become the company's creative designer. Marc initiated the first ready-to-wear line of his brand. He also designed the popular Vernesse collection with the help of Steven Sprouse and Takashi Murakami. Since then, Louis Vuitton did not stop amazing the world with its expansions. The brand continued to launch unique products including jewelry, sunglasses, bags, and watches. With consistent efforts, Louis Vuitton is the #1 luxury brand in the world with a value of $30 billion today. So isn't it fascinating to witness the journey of the homeless boy who laid the foundation of the business that now became an enormous luxury empire in the world? Tell us what you felt about discovering the history of Louis Vuitton in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in our next upcoming videos. Till then, take care.